everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great today. I hope you're all having a great start to your working week, and whatever you're doing, I hope you're taking care of yourselves. So today I have a new different topic for you. I was recently watching a YouTube video from a church in Scotland here in the UK by King's Church Aberdeen, and the title was called How to Make a Autism and Disability Friendly Church. And as an autistic woman, this really inspired me and kind of really got my thinking going about how we can interact with autistic people and bring them back into the church worship event, bring them back into the church environment, church family, and into the church sermon, so that they get to hear the biblical word and everything else that goes on in a typical church sermon. And the sermon was being given by a guy called Craig Johnson from Lakewood Church in the USA. He was visiting this church as a guest of the female pastor, which I'm not sure what her name was, but yeah, I thought as an autistic woman I want to talk about it and give my thoughts. I will link the sermon down below in the video description. So at the first point, they talked about how churches get overwhelmed with special needs because they lack the skills to support the special needs or disability community. Again, to me, this shows ignorance and arrogance, because every church should be equipped with how to support people with disabilities or autism spectrum or physical or mental disabilities, because we're in 2023 now, and this video was done 2 years ago. We should be more than likely to accept people and include people with autism and special needs into the church environment, because often than not they are isolated and not welcome within the church, because the church isn't up to standard to cater for their needs or to support them, because they don't have no one trained there to look after them, which I think is a damn right shame, because as someone with autism, you would have thought by now that you would have had someone trained with autism or trained in autism to help look after them and support them, so they can get their weekly word of a church sermon and see their friends and church family. So yes, I agree that the church has forgotten people with special needs and autism. Yes, they have. Are they guilty of it? Yes, they are. But autism has made more people realise that the special needs community and the disability community are often victimised by churches or the church environment. Again, because of the isolation, and because we're not encouraged to access churches or the worship environment or the fellowship after the church service. We're not invited to come for like the lunch or the dinner or the speech or a day out at the park or something. We're often left to do our own thing, or we're not even included because it's like, oh well, they might not want to, or it's assumed that we might not cope with the socialisation or being around other people. And they were saying that Jesus needs the church to reach out to the special needs community and disability community, as there's no hope within the world. Yes, no, I agree with that, because as someone with autism and the way that I've been treated in the past with regards to church environments, I have been judged, labelled, criticised, judged unfairly, made to feel like I wasn't welcome. And the problem is it's due to language and barriers, and also it's due to communication styles that get mismatched or miscommunicated, or they don't know how to look after you because of how severe your need might be, or how you are on a spectrum, how you present yourself. Like for me, I'm very verbal, I'm very high functioning, so for me I'm able to talk about what I can talk about, and as an autistic person I feel this topic is important to cover and to give you the insight of what's it from an autistic person's kind of view. And I do believe that we are victimised, and I say yes we are, because again, many people with special needs often watch church services at home, online, or listen to it via a podcast or a radio station. So again, they're not getting the full church immersion experience. They're not getting the full teaching of the word. They're not getting the full socialisation. They're not getting the opportunity to meet new people, friends. They're not getting experience of meeting the pastor or the pastor's wife or the reverend or the priest or the vicar or the minister of the Sikh church or any other church in that environment that you go along to on a weekly occurrence, and you get to know the people and the kind of routine of what happens in that church environment, in that church unit. Also, I think since the whole world situation, a lot of churches have gone online. They don't tend to meet face to face anymore because of the COVID strict guidance. When the COVID guidance was launched, it's like, oh, we can't meet in person, we're going to have to move it all online, on Zoom, on Teams, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, any of them social media platforms, Twitter, any of them LinkedIn, any of them Instagram, any of them social media platforms that they were moving to. So again, you did isolate a lot of people, because when you move online away from face-to-face contact and face-to-face environments, you are isolating one of your biggest groups, which is the disability and mental health communities, because they may not be mentally and physically able to go online and listen to a sermon, watch a sermon, hear a podcast, listen to a podcast, and they may just switch off and think, oh well, they can't bother to meet face to face, why should I listen? I'll just not listen, I'll just miss out on the message. So again, how can we get inclusion within the church with regards to people with disabilities and autism? This is a very tricky question in part of a degree, because when you are part of a church and you are part of that network, that support family, part of that, I guess, that monastery or community, that church family, you do need to make your reverend, priest, vicar, whoever is in your church, aware that you are autistic or you are disabled, and usually they should have someone adapt to you or support you. There should be like a counselor or someone who's like an elder or someone like that who has that need to support you, who has that training to be there for you, to help understand how you're going to access the church, what needs you have, what disabilities you might need help with, and how best to start including you within the church network, whether that's a cell group, a home group, an online group, a face-to-face group, a youth group, a student group, an adults group, a worship group, a prayer group, a food group. Like, there's all these different ways of communicating within the church network, and I think we need to go back to basics with this. We need to be very, very slow, take it back to the beginning, break each thing down so that we're able to understand how to better include people with autism and disabilities within the church network. Also, people with disabilities are looking for unconditional love and for the church to give them support. So again, this means that the church could offer personalised support plans. So again, it could be planning where they sit, who they sit with, how, if they need transport, what transport they need to get picked up and taken home, what person's going to bring them, what person needs to be with them all the time, if they need personal care, if they don't need personal care, if they just need a member of their family to bring with them. Churches need to be thinking above time, like they need to be thinking above board, and people with special needs are isolated, because again, we are people who are seen as awkward or weak or silly, or oh, people with autism don't want to come to church, they want to stay at home, they want to isolate. No, because people with autism disabilities, yes, not all of us, I'm not saying all of us want a church environment, not all of us want to be able to go to church and worship in a church group or a big worship environment. We want to be able to worship at home in our own space. So for me, I love listening to online church podcasts, because I'm at home, I'm safe, I'm in my own environment. I don't have to worry and think, oh, I've got to get the bus in like an hour to go to a church. I can worship God anywhere, 24/7, 7 days a week. So what we need to remember is church is not a four-wall building. Like, you may see I'm sitting in four walls now here, but church is not four walls, people. You can worship God anywhere. As long as you read your Bible, as long as you pray, as long as you do things that are comfortable and safe and right for you to do, and you're not breaking the law, then you should be allowed to do it in your own home, in your own space, without people judging you, going, where were you? Why didn't you come today? Oh, is it because you're making an excuse because you're a disability? Or, oh, what's wrong with you because you get overloaded? It's like, back off, people. Like, church isn't a mandatory thing. It isn't. Like, you can worship God from home. Yes, it's nice to be in the church walls environment and nice to meet people, see people, be with people. Yes, I get it. But don't just assume that all people like myself need to be in the church environment, the four walls. No, we don't. As long as we have that social contact online, on Facebook, emails, Twitter, Instagram, phone calls, if we feel comfortable with it, then that is the way you should communicate with us, because otherwise you cause increased anxiety, increased stress, and it's not going to work. It's just going to increase and increase and increase and increase the mental load that we have on our brains, going, oh my god, because we've got all this information processing it's going, you must do this, you must, you must, you must, you must. No, we not must, because we can do it in our own time and process it. So again, we need people with lived experience providing help in the church services. So again, if you're someone who has been in church with autism, disability, whether that's mental, physical, emotional, intellectual disability, we need people like you at the church doors and welcoming us, encouraging us to do this. We need to be given the welcome. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Who are you? How are you? Like, how did you get here? How are you getting home? Like, that nice greeting will make us more tempted to come back again and again and again and again and again, because we've had that one person to go, hey, how are you? And that makes us feel that we're accepted. So be very, very on your guard when you're meeting people. Also, don't come too close to us. So again, it's personal perspective, body space. So if you get to come within our like certain distance, like here, so near our face, don't overstep that boundary, because you're going to have people going, oh my god, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. And also it could be a sensory thing with smells, with touch, with clothing. It can be all sorts of little triggers that build up and build up and build up and build up and build up. And then you get the autistic person on people this way go, whoa, and then it leads to a complete meltdown, shutdown, and it can end really badly for that person and for you as well. How to make church more accessible is to produce accessible formats like accessible Bibles, so easy read Bibles, shortened Bible scriptures, maybe a everyday quotes Bible book, so that then they can just read the basic quotes of the Bible and take it away and pray over it when they get home. Also, sit with someone who knows how to best support them. So again, offer that friendship, offer that hand, offer that motivation, offer that support. Hey, it's so good that you've made it today. Oh, you must be so brave to be here on your own. You know, I'm so pleased to support you. My name is dot 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 dot. You know, it'd be nice to introduce yourself and make that autistic person and person with disabilities feel welcome within your church network, church family, church services, on a weekly basis or monthly basis, however long that you meet for in your church congregations. Also, I think the problem with churches is that churches are afraid of the word disability, autism spectrum, disability, because again, that word has such negative connotations. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you're disabled. Oh, yeah, you're autistic. Like, we don't know how to deal with that. We'll just kind of swap it off and put it underneath the carpet, and you know, try our best to kind of mentally ignore it and assume that the environment's not suitable for us. Instead of assuming what is best for us, let us assume what's best for us, because we know what's best for us. We know how is and is not going to work. And just by you doing that one little action of judging us, you've really gone, okay, well, nah, we don't want them. Nah, it's alright. Like, no, don't do it. It's just rude. It's just horrible. There's no need to. Also, we need to make the church environment more disabled friendly. So again, that's putting sound installation on the walls, or having a quiet room for us to go to watch the church service, or having a restricted meeting group in the main hall of the church. So again, having 6 to 8, maybe 10 people who all have some form of disability meeting in the back of the church if they can't handle being in the main church sanctuary or the main church meeting room, because it's just too overstimulating for them. It's too loud, it's too busy, there's too many noises, there's too many smells, there's too many voices, there's too many instruments being played, there's too many people singing, there's too many people shouting, there's too many people dancing. That overstimulates their sensory process and leads them into a full blast, shutdown, meltdown, withdrawal, which means that they're going to either leave your church building and not come back, or they're going to end up coming back but being very quiet, withdrawn and isolated. So it depends on how you cope with people. But yeah, we need to involve people with disabilities more in the church. You know, we need to be more attentive, supportive, acknowledgement, and you know, it is hard because as an autistic person myself, I get it. Not all churches are going to be able to help you. Not all churches are going to be able to adapt strategies to help you. But this is just what I feel they could have done better, and what I feel as an autistic Christian, as someone who identifies with the faith of being a Christian, I think this is super, super important. Open your doors up, churches. Welcome your autistic loved ones. Welcome your disabled loved ones, because without people like me and them and people with disabilities, your churches would not function. You would cease to have any congregation. because all we want is the unconditional love, acceptance, and not being judged and not being made to feel that we're silly people or stupid or thick or so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.